Awesome. All right. Well, welcome to today's episode. Today's guest is Austin McMillan. Austin is the founder of Flywheel Financial, an accounting firm that helps service-based business owners scale faster and stress less by taking over their entire accounting function so that they can grow with financial clarity and zero spreadsheets. Here's to that. Based in Birmingham, Alabama, Austin leads a team that acts as the accounting partner for growing businesses, showing owners what to focus on that truly moves the needle. He's passionate about serving business owners because healthy businesses create healthy families, and healthy families create healthy communities. So Austin, welcome.
Mark, thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to have this conversation.
100%. Yeah, thanks for being here. And for those of you just joining new to the pod, we at Strativa AI help businesses use AI to streamline workflows, delight customers, and grow revenue faster without needing more staff. So if you're interested in a free business growth consultation, just drop the word growth into the comments below. And so Austin, please share some more about Flywheel Financial, say like when you got started and how big your team is.
Yeah, so we actually purchased the business in May of 2023. So I was working in the business prior to buying the business. It was under a different name back then. And really all we did was buy relationships, right? We bought the relationships of the people that we were serving. Because the way that we operate, we're no contracts. We just do month to month to try to serve people, to show our value to them every single month. And so ultimately in 2023, loved the business model, loved the relationships, ended up buying those relationships, rebranded to Flywheel Financial, and really have been just growing since. And so really kind of the heartbeat behind Flywheel Financial is we want to be the financial wing of small businesses so those small business owners can focus on sales and operations and the things that are driving the business forward. And the beauty of finances is that it's the thing that actually shows you if sales and operations is actually working or not. So we want to own that completely. So we do all the admin and accounting work that it takes to handle that for a small business so they don't have to stress about the hiring and firing of a bookkeeper or an AP clerk or all these different things that it takes to have an accounting department in-house. And then not only not only do we handle that, but we also show them the numbers that we think if we were in their shoes, how to drive profit inside of their business as well, which is a lot of fun. So we try to be that whole one-stop shop in the financial realm of their business.
Fantastic. And how many people are on board, or like how many people are on your team?
Yeah, so there's 5 of us currently. So we have, it's me and 4 full-time team members, and then we have contract bookkeepers that also do kind of the clerical and admin work for us as well. So there's about 4 of those guys. So really 9 in total. And so, yeah, so the structure of the business is we have kind of people doing the day-to-day accounting, all the bookkeeping inside of all of our clients' books to make sure there's reconciled and everything's accurate all the time. And then we have a level of account managers that are the personal connection to all of our clients, right? They're the one point of contact for each one of our clients. They're the ones reviewing all the financials, buttoning everything up, delivering the financial reports, all those things. And then it's me, and I have an assistant as well that helps me. We call her our utility player. So she keeps me alive and above water most days.
That's great. And do you guys focus on any sort of niches?
Yeah, so we're only in the service-based industries. And so really, Mark, what I kind of told myself was when we first bought the business 2.5 years ago, I was going to give myself at least 3 years to kind of say yes to almost any service-based industry. So anything from property management companies to landscapers to marketing agencies to dog groomers. I mean, you name it, anybody that's providing a service for people. We try to handle the whole financial side of it. And the heart behind that is that we specialize in helping people figure out their labor efficiency ratio, which is one of the best levers you can pull in the service-based industry to drive profit to the bottom line. And so really that's kind of our niche. But in those first 3 years, I was kind of in exploratory mode of just saying, like, let me say yes to a bunch of service-based industries with the mentality of maybe after 3 years, let's narrow down for all the people that we say yes to really hone in on 1 or 2 or 3 of those main industries that we feel super, super confident in and kind of become the expert in that field. So right now I'm still in exploratory mode. Honestly, and what I've realized, Mark, is that I'm leaning more towards, that was my idea when we first bought the business, but I'm leaning a little bit more towards, I'm looking for personalities of business owners more so than a specific niche. Because we like working with people that understand the concept of who, not how, right? So like when you understand that concept, it allows us to own your books and do our job really, really well so that they can stay in their lane of doing their job really, really well that's unique to them in their own business. And we can help to drive that ball forward for them because we're executing on the finances and showing them what to focus on.
I love it. I love it. And so what are you guys looking to focus on, say, over the next 12 months in regards to that, ideal client and what they're more about, like what their head is about and their mission?
Yeah. So as far as, I guess in a two-part way, I'll kind of answer what the client's focused on, and then for us, what we're focused on. So for us, really what I'm understanding, there's two things that I'm focused on right now. Number one is like being so integrated in their business that we're more of a team member of their business, right? So they get a dedicated person from our team that just knows all the ins and outs. That's the account manager that's handling that person's everything, right? So we're an email away, video call away, Slack away, just getting integrated into the communication of their business. So like it's so easy for the business owner to like basically go back and forth of exactly what we need to execute. And so that's the first thing, is really just the closeness and the bond with these business owners. The other thing that we're doing this year, different than previous years, is we're having a consistent meeting every single month that is literally focused to drive profit for that business owner. So not only are we delivering customized reports to them, but we're also saying, look, we're going to meet with you kind of like a personal trainer. We just want you to show up. We bring the agenda to the table and we show you exactly, here are the things that we see that are off or trends that we're seeing in your business that you might need to keep an eye on. And then also here are the things that we think you need to focus on to say, like, let's increase that bottom line by a certain percent so you can have greater impact in your business. So really that monthly focus is what we're doing. And then the last thing, this is very, very new, Mark, but one of the things that I'm focused on is because we help people become more profitable, that by nature allows them to pay a bigger tax bill because they have more profit margin in their business, right?
Right.
And so the next thing that I'm implementing internally that I want to build a service for externally is tax strategy. Because what I've realized, Mark, is that, we don't do any year-end tax. We basically do all the day-to-day accounting and then hand deliver those reports to their CPA of choice to file taxes for whoever that business owner is. But one of the things that I've realized is that so many majority of tax filing CPAs don't do any tax strategy, right? They just say, hey, hand me your stuff. I'll tell you what you owe the IRS, and then we'll do it again next year, right?
Right.
And for me, I'm like, man, if these business owners are doing really well, they might have a really, really fat tax bill at the end of the year. And there's ways you can strategize throughout the year that you can start offsetting some of those taxes. And because we're in your books every single day, we can give you advice of what we see of how you can strategize that way. So that's really the next push, I think. If I'm dreaming about the next 12 to 24 months in Flywheel, that's kind of where we're headed.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, that seems like quite a natural development of things and a great way to just continue to up-level your guys' offer and your services, right? To sort of like just have that client journey get tighter and tighter with them.
Yeah, that's what we're focused on. That's right. Because we ultimately we do want to be that one-stop shop for people, right? So it's not just we're doing the admin and stuff to take it off your plate, but then we're also like advising you from our financial sense, because we're in that stuff all the time, to say like, let us be more of a partner in your business to help you really get to where you're going. And so what we try to do, Mark, is like when we start anybody, we ask them, what are their long-term goals? Like, what do you want to sell the business in 10 years? Or do you want to keep it and hand it off to your kids 20 years from now? Like, what does that look like? Right. And so we try to understand what they're just outside of money. What are your long-term goals for the business? Yep. And then let us have that as a backbone to say, like, everything we see and do inside the finances, we're going to try to tie that into your long-term goals and how that applies.
Yeah, that's a fantastic way to look at it too, is like, I could certainly see where you're saying like typical CPA just banging out taxes. And then, people might be repeat customers because of that. But with your long-term view right out of the gate, then you really become that trusted partner like early on. And so that they see that like, they're like really, you're there together with them to help them grow.
Yeah, absolutely. And a big part for us is that like, we don't want you to pay our bill if you're not making money. So it's our job to help you, show you where the holes in the buckets are to make more money, because you got to pay our bill every month, right? Yeah. And so like if you're disgruntled paying our bill every single month, just fire us and we'll be out, because we're not doing our job to help you improve. Oh,
I love it. And so being here on AI Bridges, with AI being such a big topic for everyone these days, can you give any examples of where you've implemented AI in your own business, like either in your workflows or the way that your team itself is working? So anything like internally that you can speak to, as opposed to anything that might be client facing. We could talk about that second one later. if it applies?
Yeah. So internally for us, and so really, I've tried to put a big push and divide and conquer for our team really about 6 months ago. So that was, or I guess it was right when ChatGPT Operators was released, which is now, I guess, shifted over to agents. But right when
Yes.
that was kind of released out into the world, we immediately bought that service and just tried to see what it was capable of, right? Because the nature of accounting, and you know this, Mark, is that it's very cyclical in nature, repetitive. It's just like we go through a month-end close every single month, right? And so there's a
Yeah.
lot of repetitive things that ultimately have the potential that a machine could take over, right? And so for us, I'm very focused on like, okay, what does that look like in the next phases of Flywheel? So all the admin and stuff can be taken really off not only our owners' plates, but even our internal plates, so that our team can add value in even a greater way by being that personal touch for each of our clients. And so right now we've gone through an iteration of a lot of different exploratory models to try to fit inside of what we're doing. So we specialize in doing everything through QuickBooks Online, right? So
Okay.
obviously Intuit, massive company. I have this conversation often because I'm like, okay, we're in one of two camps from just accounting function. We can go out and try to find a third-party AI software that integrates with QuickBooks Online to help us speed up our normal processes and systems that's currently taking us manual labor to go do. Or we could sit around and twiddle our thumbs and do our normal thing until Intuit eventually rolls that out, right? And on the flip side, Intuit is very protective on who they allow and who they don't allow into their platform from an API standpoint.
Yeah.
What can be done, right? So it's kind of in this middle limbo where Intuit through QuickBooks has some automations. None of it is AI driven by any means, but some of the automations that we leverage. But I'm trying to figure out like what's the best play without restructuring in a whole different accounting software that we can start leveraging things that not me, but other people are building in the AI space. But here's what I will say that I've started to love and really leverage is outside of the accounting functions. We still subscribe to ChatGPT, and I use it for proposals. I use it for, transcript, documentation, any kind of meeting, summaries. And then really the thing that I've started to love, and I'm on it every single day, is I've created this, we call it the Flywheel brain. But
Okay.
I've fed a lot of context of books and authors and documents that I just really respect and own the principles behind those things.
Uh-huh.
And I truly started to use it like a business coach, almost like an
Nice.
advisor
Yeah.
in my business. So like I'll be walking down, pushing the stroller, and I'm having a conversation with ChatGPT because I'm something that I'm thinking about to say like, how would I think, or help me think a different way if I'm thinking about tax strategies for, 12 months from now for our owners. How should I think about that? And it's just a great sounding board from an advisor if you build that brain correctly of people that you respect in the world and get it to start thinking like that. And so anyway, that's probably the best thing that I've used it for so far. But like I said, my main focus, and once again, we have work to do, but is the accounting function and how we can automate and build AI around that.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. And being in the financial space, there's obviously so much around security and compliance, right? Privacy. So what do you guys do to maintain that integrity?
Yeah, great question. And that's honestly why I've been a little hesitant to try to just gunsling an AI something into what we're doing for our clients, because it is very private protected, right? That's why we have to trust into it, because obviously they have their own compliance section that's, millions and millions of people run their businesses through. And so we do the same thing. The things that we do to very much protect ourselves, even outside of AI, is we try to, once again, be the one-stop shop for our clients. But through that lens, we still need access to pull bank statements and credit card statements and all those things. So we're not having to lean on our customers to have to feed us a bunch of data multiple times every month for us to do our job, right?
Yeah.
So what we do is we get view-only access to these banks and credit cards. So we never have the ability to transfer money, never have the ability to do anything from a money movement standpoint, but we still can collect the data that we need to do the job well, because everything's feeding ultimately through QuickBooks, right? So we trust the QuickBooks side from their security standpoint, and then we set parameters up on our side to say like view-only statements. We have this whole password protecting software where nobody on the team knows any passwords to anything. They can just log in and log out of that password protected software. So we try to do everything in our power to make sure that there's no way, money can leave your account on behalf of Flywheel, because we put things in a way from an integrity standpoint to make sure we're doing our job.
I see. Is that a common question that, say, a new client or even existing ones bring up in the early on in the relationship, is like your approach to AI?
Well, I wouldn't say not necessarily our approach to AI. It's more so an approach of security. So like
Yeah.
a lot of people are asking us that when we're onboarding, or we're having those initial conversations about potentially working together. They want to know, how are we making sure that they're fiscally secure and nothing's going to happen because we're all remote. We're in 18 states right now. And so we're doing everything remotely. And so they just want to know there's a good system in place that's going to keep them protected.
Uh-huh.
It's interesting, Mark. There hasn't been a lot of conversations for new clients coming on board with how are you leveraging AI or having this AI conversation yet. I don't know. Maybe I'm just in the slow Alabama backwoods where we haven't quite figured out AI like y'all have. But no, it's fun. It's definitely on the forefront of my mind, but I haven't had a lot of people ask about it.
Yeah. There's still a huge adoption phase going on. Absolutely.
Yeah,
so where it is a buzzword and some people have been like the rapid adopters, right? And obviously it's in the headlines quite a bit with just like the huge dollar amounts that are, going into it investment wise and that sort, on Main Street, right? Or in the backwoods, whatever. There's some people, they've only heard it in conversation and certainly aren't think about like how to employ it or things like that. You certainly see the like teenagers and things like that, or people like that rather, of course, are using it more and more and like downloading, various things because of it. But businesses implementing it, there's been, I don't know if you heard of this MIT study just a few months ago where actually like 90 to 95% of the AI installations turn out having failed. Have you heard that stat? Yeah, so it's definitely more like on the enterprise side of things. So, small and mid-sized businesses they weren't in that study as much, but you can kind of correlate the data to a degree. And it comes down to just where like a company's just jumping in thinking that they want AI in a certain degree of their business for whatever reason. And then either that reason wasn't on good merits or it was just like poorly implemented. And so, there's a lot of like, oh, I want to try it. I want to use it. And there's a lot to be said for taking it slow, right? And doing like one thing at a time and kind of like figuring it out, wrapping your head around it, especially in your sort of business where, that integrity is tantamount, right? Like it's just, you're not going to... You're going to create a lot of problems for yourselves and your clients if you can't do that. AI aside, even just, with just plain like cyber tech stuff.
Yeah, so true. That is very, very true, Mark. And that's something like I said, I feel like we're a company of standard operating procedures, right? So like everything we do is built in a document. We kind of run the play through those steps.
Yeah.
And so really for us, we already have kind of the machine rolling. And so really, I'm trying to look for the opportunities, the low-hanging fruit, if you will, the things that we do have those SOPs for, that there is already a pre-built AI tool out there that can come in and kind of plug and play inside that world. Because like you said, my focus for us is always our clients and keeping them protected. And
yeah.
So we jeopardize that.
And what about internally with your team? Has there been any organizational barriers that you've encountered when looking at AI solutions? And if so, like how have you addressed those?
I mean, not necessarily. So the way I look at it from a standpoint of like who has the personality traits on our team that like loves doing the deep research for building a process from start to scratch and they can go out and explore for things that are unique to their role that they're doing. But if you think about our business, how I explained it earlier, like our customer point of contact is in that account manager role. Mm-hmm. And so all of them are doing similar things with each other. So they have, they meet together and talk through like, how are we best serving our clients? And so I let kind of each of them explore, is there options of things that that you're still doing from a repetitive standpoint that you could potentially spend maybe 5 to 10% of your time to go find AI solutions or things out there that could really enhance that, right? Because for me, I try to keep a good ear to the ground for all of our team of like what they're struggling with. We have meetings all the time to kind of walk through like what are the holes in the boat that we can kind of solve. And so I'm trying to look, from a customer experience, that's my focus. But I want each of our team also to say like, okay, what are the inefficiencies in my unique role that I can go learn and grow in to say like, is there a solution out there on the market that we could potentially apply? And honestly, Mark, you could probably coach me up a little bit. Maybe one of the things I need that I haven't explored yet is just bringing in like a third party person like yourself, right? And just saying, let us pull the curtain backs on exactly what we're doing. And you kind of understand, where, because right now, when we only do that internally without a dedicated person that's assigned to like exploring and kind of problem solving in that way, all of us only have so much capacity to go explore because we got a whole bunch of other work to go do to actually deliver on what we've sold. And
Yeah.
so
You want to do your thing.
it's like, it's one of the things that I've been contemplating a little bit down the road. And once again, it kind of goes back to me for saying like, okay, do we invest a bunch of money in the third party solution to go do something while we're also kind of married to this Intuit, QuickBooks connection that they've built? And so how do we kind of navigate the waters moving forward there? But going back to your original question from the organizational standpoint, I wouldn't say it's caused any tension by any means from any team members, because we feel all confident, with a team of 5, the 5 plus the contract bookkeepers, we're a pretty small family unit where we all feel really, really confident about the value that we each get to add in our own roles. And so there hasn't been any kind of like worried about, am I going to be replaced one day type mentality, because my focus honestly as the leader of the business is just to keep each person in their unique ability of where they're bringing the highest value, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm honestly we have these quarterly goal check-ins where we check in every single quarter, and I spend an hour and a half with every single person on our team member individually to say, what are things on your plate that you shouldn't be doing? Let's have a conversation about it, and let me help you get those things removed off your plate, because they're draining you, they're repetitive by nature, they're not in your unique ability to go do. And so those are the things that are kind of like creating the opportunities for now AI to come in and present some solutions there.
Yeah, entirely true. With the implementation of AI, what sort of like a mentality that you can frame it around these days is, instead of your, team of 5 plus the contractors having an org chart, you can think of it now as a leverage chart. Like, where can AI come into the complete organization and just do these leverage points so that, you, or I don't know, whoever, like Sam and, so forth, doesn't have to do these things, so that, again, you can have those better client relationships, do something deeper with those clients, like offer that next level of service about like the tax strategies, or go out and get more clients, or whatever it might be, right? However you want to grow your business. But that excuse me, the AI is really leveraging your ability to really just get creative with your team much more than being kind of in the weeds of doing those repetitive things. And so, yeah, that's absolutely a conversation that we could have offline, Austin, because that is exactly what we do with our audit, is to go in and find out, what a company is doing and where they think they want help. But then in doing the audit, sometimes it shines a light in some other nook of the business and then lays out the opportunities for them, so that then they can either have the suggestion from us and we help them build it, go online and literally they buy the product for it that we've let them know about, that we're not affiliated with, but it's just, in our world, we know these things. And so the audit like shines a light for them to go get that off the shelf thing. Or sometimes people just implement themselves. Yeah. Because depending on the company size, so back in the day, there wasn't a CAIO, right? And now in some of my business relationships, I'm now a fractional CAIO, right? And then there's other companies that, like I said, they have that. They're not really calling them a CAIO, but there's people, say, in the tech position or IT position or something, that they've sort of been tasked with fulfilling that role for them and their company internally. And then also, like we spoke about a little bit, is just if there's any like forward facing, AI experiences with the clients, then that's getting addressed as well. Like I have a customer and they've got a voice AI receptionist. And so sometimes, they want to do a little tweak or something in there. But what's great is then that agent is trained and it remembers it from then on, right? And so, but that's like the example of a forward facing for that lawyer. It's forward facing to their clients, as opposed to him having his internal workflows optimized in other ways, right? Yeah. And so that's all just food for thought, really. And then
that's good.
Also, I'm happy to We will certainly talk about this more offline, but I know someone who is in he works for Intuit, full-time employee on AI. Like he is like one of the main dudes. And so, I'll perhaps, talk more with you and him about any sort of, networking or what have you, just to sort of see, where that might go.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That'll be fantastic.
Yeah. And so when you've been like mentioning about the idea of like internally staying in compliance, what do you do to sort of keep yourself abreast or your company abreast of what the concerns are within your industry, just as like a check of like, okay, yeah, we are doing this and now there is this thing going on, like, are there like trade organizations that you subscribe to, or how do you get that knowledge?
Yeah, for sure. So give you one perfect example. So a decent amount of our clients in the property management space, in the main property management organization is an organization called NARPM, NARPM. And so they kind of standardize the chart of accounts for that organization, the benchmarks for that organization, or sorry, not for the organization, but that industry. So, chart of accounts, benchmarks. So they obviously have conferences all throughout the year that are kind of specialized in different regions of the country. But that's something that we are in to like understand the processes that they're teaching and the industry standards in their world. And then what we do is that we adapt that to the people that we're serving, right? So like we pull that data in, we implement all that data, obviously from the financial lens of it. And then we try to show them, okay, here's where the typical benchmarks are for your specific industry. And here are the things that need to adjust or change in order to hit the benchmarks to be successful based on what your industry is showing, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of times, there's certain things like that in the property management space. We also serve a lot of landscapers. So, and in those guys, there probably are some landscape industry standards out there. I actually had a landscaping background. And so a lot of it comes down to, for us, we can glean wisdom from different organizations and different industry standards. But I kind of tie a lot of things back to the personal goals of the business owner as well, right? So like how much they want to grow from a revenue standpoint, what does their take-home pay look like that they desire to take home, in 5 years? And we try to tie those things back in there. But when it comes down to compliance, it's pretty self-explanatory for us, is that we have, like I said, we're a company of systems and processes, so that the bookkeeping is always going to be 100% accurate because we're tying everything out based on everything that it needs to, back to the bank statements and all those things. But then even from, we'll pay monthly and quarterly sales tax or things for our clients to kind of take that off their plate as well, so we can just handle that for them, kind of like a back office would. And so really that's specific to the location and the business that we're serving to kind of understand the rules and regulations. So that all happens during the onboarding phase of that company to say like, okay, what are the unique things that's unique to you about the position you're in and the business that you're running that we need to be compliant in to keep you compliant. So like whether they're in the franchise space and we're having to submit things up to corporate, which we do, or they're in the small mom and pop business and they just need to file taxes on a certain basis to kind of keep updated from a legal standpoint in their jurisdiction, then we kind of custom cater that to each one of the clients.
And are you taking that generalized information, the redacted information or neutralized, however you want to say it, and putting that into your agent or your GPT as well, so that you're training it in that industry and those things?
No, that's smart, Mark. I probably should be doing that. Because I'm currently not, right? So like most of it's just up here in my own brain and not the agent brain. I should be regurgitating a lot of that stuff out, because honestly, what I could do, I record majority of our client meetings, right? So like I'll get on a meeting and we'll have a whole hour-long discussion on benchmarks and how to tackle it and what to focus on and all these things, right? And we're looking at their financials as we're going through this stuff. Trying to build a scoreboard for them and the owner metrics and all these things that we're customizing unique to them.
And you record it on Zoom?
We actually use a company called Loom.
Yeah, Loom. Okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Right, yep.
So we do everything. We're in the Google ecosystem, and then we use Loom. I use Loom multiple times every day. Everybody on the team does. This is a great way to communicate when you're virtual. But we do that for client meetings as well. So honestly, I could take that transcript from those client meetings and import that into this brain to get it to continue to learn of how we're basically applying this knowledge in different industries.
Yeah, you could take that, you could tell it to strip out, any of the unique identifiers and
That's right.
even literally yourself just before when you see it in the transcript form, you could take that out and then put it in the GPT and then have it turn around like a knowledge base for you that then you then commit it to the business brain, right?
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's brilliant. I love that, Mark.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back and rewatch this so I know exactly what to do.
There you go. And what would you say, like looking ahead, where do you see some AI trends happening, in regards to your industry?
Yeah, to me, it all goes back to a simple bookkeeping, right? I actually had this conversation with our team not very long ago of just saying like, hey, as we continue to grow and explore the AI space, I'm not sure if we're going to ever hire another bookkeeper that just does bookkeeping, right? Because we're at this inflection point with AI to say like, we're so close to all the things, whether it's coding transactions, reconciling bank accounts, journal entering things back, all the things it takes to basically like do just the bookkeeping aspect of finance, that I would much rather leverage a machine that can continue to do it day and night and all the things. And so we just haven't found that solution yet, like we were talking about earlier, but that's really the forefront of accounting. So, and just to break it down for you real quick, I think there's kind of 4 levels of finance in any business, right? So like the first level is that bookkeeping. It's just the clerical work to code things and put things in the right buckets. Mm-hmm. And then the second level there is the controller aspect, right? So it's understanding your industry. It's understanding how we, accrual versus cash, and you're making these adjustments to kind of create the performance of your business on your profit and loss and balance sheet and these reports that you're generating. And then the third level above that is the forecasting aspect. So now you got historical data to now understand what you've done seasonally and historically as a business to now allow us to say like, okay, let's project that out to kind of give you frame of reference of what 2026 or 2027 is going to look like. And so there's a whole forecasting element of that. And then the fourth and final one is the fraction, or the CFO, that fractional CFO, if you want to call it, or the chief financial officer. And those are the people that are actually like making sure your organization is fiscally secure, right? They're the ones that are on your lead team meetings, and they understand what's going on in your business, and they're helping you make true long-term financial decisions that are going to benefit the company. And so for us, we're moving into a lane now, because I know bookkeeping is on that low-hanging fruit for AI, that we're moving into a way of saying like, let us be the solution for all 4 of those levels for you as a small business. And so that's where we're growing into. And because we started off, 2.5 years ago, I guess, because right when we bought the company, I guess was right around the time ChatGPT was released. I mean, it was released in 21, 22? I can't quite remember, but somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And so for us, bookkeeping was still like a full-fledged thing where you could do a whole business just doing bookkeeping, right? And you still can right now, but the last thing I want to do is build the next Blockbuster, right? So we have to pivot a little bit to say, no, if bookkeeping is a potential way that we don't need labor to function and still produce, then let us grow into the levels above that. And that's currently what we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. That's smart, because, it's the phrase these days, Austin, right, is like, people aren't going to lose their jobs to AI, but they're going to lose their jobs to people that are using AI.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
And that's out there. However, I do also have the mentality that is a little bit kind of aligned with what you were saying with like potential low-hanging fruit for things. And, I've already seen, the local group of Apple and things like that. I know people in those teams, and they're like, yeah, we're shrinking. And like, I'm normally given an intern every single year, and I don't have an intern this year. There's definitely some jobs that are getting minimalized, if not going away. A car dealership, family-owned business. They own 7 local, like Porsche, Audi, Acura. They hired us to go into their client journey from the front end and then through like financing. They handle financing, right? And people are buying a car, so they do that in-house. So the data has to be super secure, again, because of the finances. And they did that to literally take some of the workload off of their accounting team.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, the reality of how impactful AI can be is true. It gets the work done. And then, but then it's like, okay, so now what can we do with that extra time right? That we can create elsewhere and do something with.
Yeah, so true.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. It kind of makes me think back to, I remember reading an article years ago about pre-cell phone days and people talking about the potential of the internet and cell phone coming out, in the 80s and early 90s or so. And there was, in the article, it basically said a lot of business owners were saying like, man, when this technology is released, what would we even do with all of our time?
Yeah.
Because they're mailing invoices and they're sending letters out you would just like, everything was it's just different. It was different back then, right? Slower or whatever you want to call it. But believe me, people feel just as busy now as they did back in probably the 80s, if not more so, because of the distractions and all the things this world that we live in.
Yeah.
So it's funny to say that because I think there's probably a common thread as human beings. You're probably just always going to make yourself distracted or busy doing stuff, right? But for us, to your point, we need to use that time when we can offload it off to a machine. Then we need to use that time for high value add to business owners to really improve them. Because honestly, the heart behind us goes back to what I was mentioning to you earlier. Is that we truly, at the core of Flywheel, we really do believe when we have the ability to touch a business owner and show them and to improve their business so that they're actually operating with margin in their business, that means they can have greater impact for what they're passionate about, right?
Right.
Because they're now operating with margin.
I love
that
it.
money allows them creativity to pay their employees better, wow their customers better, give away to more organizations that they believe in. Whatever they want to do with that extra margin, they have the opportunity to go do that. And so then lives are changed because of that, because we're touching the leader of that organization that now has greater impact because it's operating with margin. So for us, that's the focus. And if we can do that better because we're no longer having to go reconcile bank accounts or code transactions, then heck yeah, I'm all for it, because now we get to spend more time actually moving the needle in those business owners' lives and not having to spend the time away, not communicating with the business owners because we have to go do all this repetitive work all the time.
Indeed, indeed. And so how do you foresee the relationship between human workers and AI workers evolving, like especially in regards to like collaborating or job roles?
Yeah, that's so good, Mark. Honestly, I'd love to hear your answer to that too, because you're the AI expert. I'm just, kind of reading occasionally about what this stuff can do. My opinion on it, and I'm curious, you can correct me if I'm wrong. My opinion on it is that, at least for now, I view it so much like an assistant, right? Mm-hmm. So it allows you in each individual role, or for whatever you're hiring an AI agent to come do, is it gives that person now the flexibility to say, man, now I don't have to do this mind-numbing stuff anymore, and I can get back to what the Lord gave me as my most powerful weapon, which is my brain.
Yes.
Right? And so now I can utilize my kind of unique ability of what I've been given to go problem solve and do creative things and like do these things that actually like create impact, rather than just the 40 hours a week staring at a computer screen just doing this, right?
I love it.
So that's the beauty of, I think, what AI can do, is it can get people out of that and allow them to have the space to actually have better impact, because they're now using their brain to the power at its highest potential.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I love it. I love it. You're saying impact a lot, and that really resonates with me in my coaching business that I started before this AI consulting business. That's the name of it, is Infinite Impact.
Let's go.
Infinite Impact Coaching. Yeah. And so, all about that ripple effect. And yeah, to answer your question, my 2 cents on it is, I think that we're going to be using agents more and more. I think that agents are going to be managing other AI agents, that is, right? And then we'll be interfacing with the AI managers more. And it'll be of the mentality of where a lot of people now are just coming to the grips of like, we can use AI to leverage, this tool into here. And the quicker that people can start to think of like AI being a factory instead of a tool in the factory. And so it's like, what do you want the output of the entire factory to look like? Right. And so then you're able to have the impact of whatever it might be. Right. And the product or service might be this color car, or it might be, that type of thing or whatever. But just like collectively thinking of it as like a factory that can turn out said services or said products, so that we're plugging much more into our ability to create, just like you were saying.
Yeah.
And then, like, we're literally not acting like machines ourselves because of that. so many of us are like nose to the grindstone. Industrialization came along and it's like the 9 to 5 and Monday through Friday, like those were all fabricated, all just built around like the idea of like production, right? And then I think, wasn't it like Ford or someone, he came up with like the idea of a weekend so that then the workers in his company could buy his cars to go then drive them on the weekends.
I think you're right, Mark. That's
Right. Yeah.
I forgot about that, but I think you're exactly right.
Yeah. And so it's all like the mental, the constructs that we have. And so it's creating us the opportunity to create things that much more. And so that's where I get really excited with it. And for me, it's a combination of being able to create more in the business, but then also like just create more as a human. So tie into, I think, like that last part of your introduction, right? Like the idea of community. And like for me, it's very much about like giving back to my daughter and just having her, live in the best possible world as she can. And for other people, it's about helping their parents, or for other people, it's about, serving in a certain group or something. So yeah, that's where it really, I feel super excited and optimistic about all of it.
Mark, I'm in the exact same camp you are. It's so well said, because it really does give you the potential to kind of live in this space where you're in your unique ability more than you ever have been before. And I'm in the full camp of like, when you're operating in that mode for what you were originally designed to go do, that's how you can create the best impact that you need to have from your life.
Yes.
Right. And so I'm more optimistic about the future than ever, because there's the potential to be able to do that. So all the things that we've spent, so much time in our life to date doing, that are required of us to go do to execute on a job or do things in the home or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
As technology progresses, has the opportunity to get those things off your plate so that you can be present with the things that you're going to be happy that you did on your deathbed one day, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so,
exactly.
just
like, what's your
super,
legacy
super
going to be?
There's a great book that I just finished reading called The 5 Types of Wealth.
Okay.
And what I love about it, put it on your list, because the fifth and final one is actually financial wealth. But he talks about, I'll just go through them really, really quick.
Oh, interesting.
The first one is time wealth. And he said the best way to describe this is Warren Buffett's one of the richest people on the planet, but nobody would switch places with him because he's 94 years old. So think about that. If you were incredibly poor but 40 years old, would you change places with Warren Buffett? He's got everything you could ever desire from a money standpoint, but he's 94 years old. Most people would say no. And it's this thing called time wealth to actually put focus on. So that was the one that impacted me probably the most. But time wealth is the first one. The second one was social wealth, family, relationships, how socially healthy are you? The second was mental wealth. Like, are you operating, you leveraging your brain? Are you clear in your brain? All the things that just comes with the mentality of like who you are. The fourth one was physical wealth. So like, how are you, basically building to have a long life that you want to have on this planet? And then of course the fifth and final one was financial wealth. And so anyway, it's a great read. Wow. It's basically 5 books in one. It's very practical, but I suggest that to anybody because it really resets your priorities when you get in the rat race of life of trying to build something that ultimately may or may not matter to you down the road.
Yeah, it sounds like a great way to frame things.
Yeah, it's a great book to read.
I love it, Austin. Very cool.
Yeah, you bet.
Well, as we come into kind of land the plane here, as we say, what is a good way for people to be able to reach out and find you online?
Yeah, I appreciate that, Mark. So our website is flywheel.financial. We're with the new age people that no longer do .com, so we're flywheel.financial.
Nice.
And then honestly, like I told you, I think right before we started recording, I'm new to the whole social media game, but I'm trying to be as present there as absolutely possible. So I'm on it every single day. I'm trying to just add value to people's lives. And so if you just want to find me, Instagram's really the only platform I'm on. And so if you just go out, it's Austin D. McMillan is my handle, but feel free to reach out. In fact, Mark, actually, if anybody listening, we've created this gift that we're just giving out to people that shows business owners how to prioritize their bank accounts to increase profit.
Oh, what is it?
It's kind of a profit first mentality. So if anybody goes and finds me on Instagram and you just message me the word profit, we'll send that guide. It's a PDF, video PDF that we've created that we just want to add value to business owners' lives to help them improve their bottom line just through systems. And so feel free to reach out if you need it.
Yeah, that's great. And where again can they get that?
On Instagram. So if you go find me on Instagram, Austin D. McMillan, and then you just message me, DM me the word profit, and we'll just send it right over to you.
Beautiful. Awesome.
Yeah. Would love to.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here today, Austin. This has been a real eye-opener for myself, and kind of looking into your world and sharing opportunities with the listeners out there. So I want to thank you so very much for your time.
Mark, thank you so much for having me. Thank you for coaching me up on the AI world. I love a lot of the comments. I'm definitely going to continue to chew on those, and just appreciate it. You having me on today.
Talk soon.